Hello, everybody. We're back here at the Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot, and we are here now with the chief investigator, president, owner of the Indiana Bigfoot Research Organization. We're going to get into how he got started in this, what he wants to do with this organization, and we're going to talk a little bit about the wonderful investigators that he has. And so let's get started. Now, what got you into the world of Bigfoot before you got into this organization and everything?
I always believed there was Bigfoot in Washington State, California, up in the mountains, places like that, deep woods. I never believed or really even imagined that in Indiana, Ohio, or even Kentucky, I'd never thought about that. Especially Indiana. I've hunted these woods my whole life. Ever since I was a young kid, I've hunted the woods. Never did I ever think there was a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch in this area. So when I seen someone having a outing in Indiana, I was like, I want to hear what this guy's got to say. So I called him up. I'm sitting at work. I'm sitting at work one day, and I'm reading the paper, and they're having an outing in Indiana, right where I live at, out of the town I'm in, and I'm going, I got to talk to this guy. So I called him up, and before he ever had the outing, we got together and we started going out. We found a print the very first day we went out. It was mid-March. Ground was really froze, thawed out in a few places, only a few places. We're walking through a graveyard. He's showing me tree structures, some breaks, explaining some stuff to us, and we walk up on a print. And he goes, right there's a print. And I got two of my buddies with me. Because to be honest, when I first looked at it, I called two buddies and said, hey, I'm not going out in the woods with this guy by myself. Y'all want to go with me? This guy is chasing Bigfoot. Come and go with me. So we went. And they're standing there, and we look down and goes, I see the toes. The other guy goes, I see the whole blankety foot. So we're kind of standing there dumbfounded.
Okay.
And so we leave. We end up leaving. We didn't cast that printer. We didn't do anything. But like I said, it was only thawed in a few places.
Right.
So we didn't see any other prints. We looked. We was looking for more prints, but we didn't see anything. So we left. One of the guys that's still with me today, he is a great researcher. He was with me on that day. Both of the guys are still with me now.
Right.
But he was with me, and I looked at Jim, and I said, he brought us here. He goes, exactly. How can we believe what he has showed us? He brought us to this area. So we started looking on our own, and we started finding and seeing the very same things that he told us to look for. We started finding the tree breaks. We was finding the tree bends. We was finding things. And by the end of the summer, it was Jim. Are you finding this stuff anywhere else? No, I don't see this stuff everywhere. If this is natural, why do I not find it in any woods I go in?
Right.
Why are we only finding it in selective woods? That's my question. So our interest was just totally piqued at that point. And by the following spring, Steve Abney health was failing. He's not really able to get in the woods anymore. He was looking for someone to take the organization over. And I happened to be in the right place at the right time, and Steve liked me. He believed in me. Kind of followed his same beliefs on where we wanted the organization to go to. and he handed it over to me. Said, "Here it is." So that's how I got started.
Okay.
And from that point on, it has been a great journey because we was really intrigued with things we was finding.
Right.
And then the more we found, then the more experiences we started having. We couldn't explain them. And then because we started doing it, everybody around me started having sightings. They started having their own visual sightings. They started having all these different experiences. Myself, unfortunately, I have yet to have a visual sighting. I've had everything else. I've had them in close. I know that they've been in close. I've heard them close. I've heard them walk around us, but I've yet to have that visual sighting.
Well, since you said that, what do you think your reaction would be if you saw one, knowing everything you know now? What do you think your reaction would be?
I think it's still going to be, am I really looking at what I'm seeing? Am I really seeing that? Is this really it? Because I truly believe, everybody asks, why don't we have more pictures? Why don't we have more pictures? Well, if you see one, it's because they've made a mistake. Something has happened that you have probably made a mistake. They've made a mistake. They've stepped out in front of you. By the time you get it in your head, what you're really seeing, you may have 1 or 2 more seconds to try to pull your phone out and try to get a picture, and it ain't going to happen. That's why we don't have a whole lot of pictures. The only way you're going to get a picture most of the time is if it's a perfect setup, it's a delayed reaction on that they moved, you was able to get a phone out, or you had a camera running to start with. Maybe it was caught on a dash cam or something like that where a camera was really running. But I challenge people to stop and think about everybody I've ever talked to that has seen one. It takes them a few seconds. It takes them a little bit for their brain to wrap around what they're really seeing. So I truly believe if I went the first time I see one, that's what it's going to be. Even though I know this is what I'm looking for, I think it's going to take my brain a while to wrap around. Yes, I am really seeing this. This is standing here. That is what just walked away from me.
Right.
Unless I have a camera running, I'm not going to get that picture.
And
so that's how I kind of look at it. But I really do believe that I will. I don't think I'll be shocked. I don't think I'm going to be scared. I don't think anything like that. It depends on the situation. I can tell you a story about a time that I thought we had one running up behind us. My heart was in my throat. I turned around and my flashlight's dead. And I'm going, holy... It was someone that didn't realize the situation that was going on, that thought they would spook us and come running up behind us. I will say that he got chewed up one side and down the other and heard about it for quite some time.
Right.
Because he tried to spook us. It just so happened that we had just heard one scream and had walked back a path to check on something and was coming back out knowing that this thing is around us. This thing is walking around us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're walking back down a path at night.
Well, tell me about some, with leaving their names out of this, because, not everybody wants everybody to know that they're out looking for Bigfoot.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's me. I don't care.
But there's people that's got to protect their position in society and, their jobs. But tell me a little bit about the researchers you have. Just kind of generalize the type of researchers you have in your organization.
Like I said, there's 2 guys that went out with me from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them goes out all the time. The reason that I really like him, and I love it when we go out, and especially we have him, because he questions everything. I don't care what you got. He's going to question it. I've got 2 of them that way. They're going to question it because they want to analyze everything that's happening. Because they want to mark out. It's like, I'm not jumping to conclusions. I'm not going to jump oh, it's Bigfoot. Oh, it's Bigfoot. So I love it when they're there because that's how they look at everything. And one of them was really like that big time until he had the visual sighting. And then after he had a visual sighting, he looked at me and he goes, you know, there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever what we're looking for now. I seen it. Changed everything. It changed everything. I expect the same thing to happen to me one of these days, but it changed everything. But he still is so skeptical of everything that goes on. If we have something happen, if someone's got a report, I call on him, and if he goes and we go, he's going to look at it as, I'm going to find any reason I can that this is not a Sasquatch. I'm going to find why this is really happening. I'm going to explain what happened here. I'm not going to meditate, you know. I like that because it challenges you to make sure that you're not jumping to conclusion. Just like most of the people that's out here, no matter what they hear, they'll say, it ain't out here. You didn't just hear what was screaming, oh, that was something else. Well, you have the other ones that will immediately go, oh, that's a Bigfoot, that's a Bigfoot. It's not always the case. And that's why I like, especially these two guys, two of the researchers, is because they're that way. They're going to question it. They're going to question, could that have been something else? Could that have been this? So they're going to try to eliminate out anything they can before they come back and go, I believe yes. So when they come to me and say, hey, we had this happen, I don't have no doubt in my mind what they're saying to me. And that's why I really liked it. And it's not because they've been doing it for a long time. It's because I can trust their judgment that they're not jumping to conclusions. And which is one of the things that I really like, is when someone isn't going to jump to a conclusion on it. And we've got others that are not necessarily part or a core part of the group, but they're associated with us. We've got some that has them around their house that can tell us stories that you just, it's hard to believe what they're telling you.
Right.
But when you go to their house and you see the things and you see all their documentation, I have a family that has documented every single thing that has happened to them. If anything happens, it's wrote down in a journal. They have a whole notebook that is just dates. This happened, this happened, this happened. Very interesting family. Every one of them, just about, I think almost everyone in the family has had sightings at their property. And it's a small, narrow piece of property that they just must pass through there. But they pass through there a lot, apparently, because they've had some really interesting stuff. So when I get information from them, it's another one that you know what you're looking at. You know what you're looking at. You're not jumping to conclusions. If you said you've seen something go down over that ridge, then you've seen something. One of our other researchers, a female researcher that had a habituation site for several years. Amazing stuff that she got out of a habituation site. And again, and a lot of it because she's female. I truly believe it was because she was female. She had she had a connection with these things. When she talked to them, she would tell them what she wanted, and they would do it. She would tell them, don't take the trash and scatter it out all over the place. I have trouble picking all this up. I don't want to leave trash out here. I got to pick that trash up and take it out of here. Bring your trash back up here close. They did. They would leave their trash closer. They wouldn't scatter it all through the woods for her. They would leave it up there close to her. So most of the time when she asked them to do something, they did it. It was flat amazing on what she was doing with this clan, with this certain clan. And a lot of that is because of the female part of it, and you know, not being aggressive. She was you know, going at it at a different approach. You know, they trusted her. I believe they really trusted her that she's not going to be putting cameras out on them. She's not going to be doing this. She had no intentions of whatsoever hurting them, and they knew that. They had been around her. They camped in a certain area every week. They was there all the time, and that clan knew them. And she could hear them. She knew when they was coming in. She could tell when they was coming in. She'd go, "Yep, here they come." And directly they would be around the campsite.
Who?
You know, never done nothing. Never had no problem.
So, when they were sitting around, were they like just watching them for TV?
Yeah, they just come up around the campsite. They'd come up around the campsite. You'd hear them. They might yell. They might do something, you know, let you know they was there. But you would hear them a ridge away start screaming. And you could hear them as they come in closer and closer. And then it would go quiet. And when it kind of went quiet is when they was in around the campsite. And when they would move around the campsite, you might hear them walking around. Like I said, you might hear them walking around. We have the one recording where it come walking up out of the valley behind them at night because they was leaving. You know, 2 o'clock in the morning, it comes up out of the valley behind them yelling. You know, and we got tooth prints in bottles where they had bit into bottles. We was able to cast the tooth prints that was matched up to other ones. She's got the coolest, I think it's like a little basketball that just like palm of your hand.
Right.
Just a small one that disappeared and was gone for weeks. This thing was gone, then it reappears in the gifting site, and it is totally all the air smashed out of it and permanent fingerprints around that ball. Just smashed in. They're still there. She keeps that ball. She keeps it put away. But perfect fingerprints. It's just smashed around that ball. She got some of the best evidence, you know, because of her sight. She did that. Others of us, we do kind of go out and try to get a reaction. We do something just to see if we can get a reaction from them. Get them to yell back at us. Get them to do this. Just so that we find areas that, you know, because constantly looking for a new area to go into that we can start. And the reason that we do that is for trying to put numbers to them. Saying, okay, well, we know over here if they come in, there's always 2 to 3 of them.
Right.
When they come around us, there's usually 2 or 3 of them. And in this area, well, we're over here. Maybe we got someone in a different area at the same time, and they had 2 or 3 of them that's around them. You know, so it'll put 5 or 6 in between these 2 areas, and we can kind of start trying to put a little bit of numbers to them. And even in her gifting site, we've seen 2 different infant prints that had showed up at different times in the years, over the years.
All right.
So, heard the male, we've heard the female. We know there's some juveniles that run around that mess with you, and we've seen the infant prints, so we know that there's been a couple different infants that has been born in that area and probably raised in that specific area that we're in. And that's why it's come out of her gifting site, because of that gifting site. And so just another one that just so beneficial, you know, to the group because of the information that she can give out, and then we run off of information. And I love it when people come in and I can say that this is stuff from Indiana. This is stuff from right here in central Indiana. These castings are from central Indiana. I've casted in just the last few years. Here's the evidence that we have from this local area. And when you can show that to people, they open up. Then they start looking at you and they really start telling you, well, I've had this happen. I've had this happen. You know, they feel a little bit more comfortable when you can start showing them this is from this local area. And you start telling them stories from that local area. So that's why I really like some of the researchers. You know, I get the opportunity to, I don't look at it that I run this, well, kind of run it. All I do is kind of keep herding the cats in one direction. You know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
But, you know, I'm just part of it. I'm just part of the organization. I just put my name out in front of it. That's basically it. The researchers is our group. They're our core group. They're what makes it happen. The castings that I have, I didn't find every one of those. I found a couple of those prints. I found a couple of them, but it's our researchers that found them. I casted them, and each one of our researchers has a number of castings. They casted it. They found it. They casted it. It's their print. You know, and that's how I kind of look at it. And they, you know, it's the researchers in our group that makes it.
right.
And I'm blessed to be able to be kind of the name out in front of it right now. And that it's just a great thing.
So, as a lead investigator or president of the organization, where do you want it to be in, say, 5 years and then maybe 10 years?
What I really want it to be is, and it's a double-edged sword. It really, I may be asking for something that in 5 years that I wished I never had. But someone says Sasquatch in Indiana, I want the Indiana Bigfoot Research Organization. I want that to be the first thing they think of. When someone has a sighting in Indiana, I want our name to be there. I want to find out. I want to know. I want our organization to be the biggest organization in Indiana.
Okay.
Across the whole state. Not just in one area.
Not in the central part.
Not just the central part, across the state. And that could be bad because, man, that could be a lot. That could be taking on a lot. But that is kind of what in the back of my mind, that's kind of what I want. And I want our name to be associated. It says Indiana Bigfoot Research Organization. Indiana. That's when I say Indiana, that's what I mean. From the south to the north. I want our name to be associated with it. And I want people to come to us because it's nothing about money. It's nothing about that. It's about helping people when someone has an issue and they believe they have a Bigfoot around. They call us. I want someone there. Then, as soon as we can get there, I want someone there to help that family. Because if they're calling, they're most likely freaked out. They're scared. They want to know. They want to know, how do I get rid of this thing? What is this thing? Are we in danger? You know, I want to go there and say, no, you may not have nothing around here. You might be looking at something that's, that it's really not. It's not really a Sasquatch that's around here bothering you. Maybe one passed through here. Maybe that's it. Or say, yeah, you do have some around here. There's a number of signs here. We found tracks here. It looks like they're been around here quite a bit. And be able to help them learn and educate them so they're not so freaked out. They're not so scared that they may be not leaving their homes. Or if they are got one that's been aggressive and doing something, maybe we can help try to deter it a little bit. Try to maybe get it to back off some. Maybe, by putting up lights, by doing something that we might be able to encourage this thing to back off a little bit. Maybe it's something that they're doing
that's irritating it.
That's irritating it. Maybe they're leaving food out and this thing's coming in and getting food, something that they're doing that's irritating it or bringing it in. Maybe we can find out what that is and stop that and maybe cut down where it's being so aggressive, if it's being aggressive with it.
Right.
So that's what I want. I want us to be able to help people.
Okay, so since we got to maybe, the temperament of the Bigfoot, what do you find to be the typical temperament of Bigfoot in Indiana?
Really, the ones that we've encountered around here are not aggressive. They don't seem aggressive. The only thing that I've noticed, if they've called us and said, hey, I think I'm hearing something, I think this, well, I'll tell them, well, either totally ignore it, and they'll keep trying to stay away from you. Once they realize that you know that you're aware of them, they'll push that limit a little bit more. They may do some more tree knocks. They may do some more screams. They may, and the more that you're aware of it, the more that they may come in and leave you gifts. Maybe they'll do something more. It depends on what you want. You know, if you totally ignore them, go on like you have no idea that they're there, they'll probably stay away. They'll probably not bother you too much.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as being, I've yet to run across one that I felt threatened. I haven't been out myself at any point, or even the people that I've talked to, as being aggressive, that they really felt threatened. Scared, yeah. Maybe they got scared because they seen it and they freaked. But as far as being charged, bluff charged, or, you know,
screaming in their face,
screaming in their face, you know, and doing things like this, I'm not really getting too much of that. You do get reports of hunters that say, well, I'm not going to go hunting in that area because every time I go down there, some other hunter's throwing rocks at me because they don't want me in that area. Well, it's not another hunter that's throwing rocks at you. If it's a hunter, they'll just come down and tell you.
Yeah.
You know, it was probably a Sasquatch, and you was in their area, and they were just throwing some rocks at you, and you know, and they're trying
your competition.
Yeah, your competition, and they're trying to move you out of their area. And that's all we've really seen, is that they may do some things that will intimidate you a little bit and usually get you to leave that area.
Right.
You know, they just want to back you out of that area if you're in. If we're out, they usually come in, check us out, and then leave. They come in, they may make a noise, you might hear them walk around, someone might see some eye shine, and then they're gone. But never had any come in and charge us, you know, or really do anything like that. So I just think because there's not that many deep woods. That's why I never believed there was one here to start with.
Right.
Because the woods isn't that deep. Indiana is really heavily populated with people. We do have a lot of woods, but there's a lot of houses within the woods and a lot of roads. You know, there just isn't that deep of woods. So I think that they're so used to the people here that they just kind of move around us and they kind of live within us. You know, and I've casted prints within less than a mile from the sheriff's department. You know, now they would tell you there ain't no Bigfoots. Well, I've casted a print. I can see where I casted a print right from
the edge of your parking lot.
Yeah, from the edge of your parking lot. I can point and go right over there. I casted a print right down there at the end of that field. You know, that's how close they are. That's how close they are, you know, and we have a really hot spot around here. And the truth in it is, by the way the crow flies, we're less than a mile from the Starbucks. And I laugh and say, yeah, they probably go down to Starbucks and get your coffee. Because we're not that far away.
Right. Well, let me say this to the viewers. I don't like Starbucks, so I'm not going to have to worry about seeing one at Starbucks.
But, you know, they're that close to the towns. They're that close within. It's kind of hard to believe. For a personal experience, and I never got to verify this.
Right.
I did live in the country up until 3 years ago. I lived just outside the Morgan Monroe Forestry, Indiana Morgan Monroe Forestry. Anybody's looking that up, they'll see it. I lived just right outside of it, grew up outside of it. I moved inside of the city limits. I shouldn't have a Bigfoot around me. Within the first year that I'm living there, I'm getting a report of one in the park right behind my house.
It's got trees in it, right?
Yep, got trees in it, and it's a ridge behind my house because they had Christmas lights up, and there was a report of one standing up just outside of the Christmas lights right at Christmas. I never could get a hold of the person to verify that that was actually a true story. But I'm like, are you seriously kidding me? But I do know of one that travels through that area. So it's very possible. Within the city limits, there was one in the city park.
That's kind of reminds me a little bit of back home in West Virginia in Charleston city limits. We've actually had bear walk through town, right in downtown Charleston. Bear care less about people. All they want is eat.
Yeah.
You know, there's food in town, so they'll come into town to find something to eat if they're hungry.
Exactly. And this, if they had a whole Christmas display in this park, maybe this thing was cutting through and seen the lights and wanted to come
see all of the blinking lights were. Yeah.
See what all the blinking lights was. We've done some research with ghost grid lights that you would turn on, put the grid out there. You take those even in the middle of the summer, and you take that grid light and flip it on a tree in the middle of the woods, it'll light that whole tree up.
Yep.
It'll look like a Christmas tree out there. That's something different. They come in to check to see what those lights are. That's different. That's a different light. That's lighting up something different. And we've got some screams because of doing that. Now there's some downsides to that, as a story you'd heard a little bit today, that someone had hit one with a laser light in the forehead.
Yeah.
Because of that, kind of stopped doing it, because we don't want to take that chance that you would actually hit him in the eyes with a laser light.
Yeah, that could be very dangerous.
Very dangerous. So kind of got away from doing that. Because we don't want to take a chance of doing that.
Yeah, and by the way, that person gets pelted quite a bit, from what I understand.
I know that's a different one. That's a different gentleman. We got one gentleman that does get
rocks thrown at him.
Yeah, they've got.
What do you suspect was the reason he's getting rocks thrown at him?
Well, we really believe that there's a couple things about that. He's played a distressed rabbit call. Okay. And you can use a tape recorder to do it, but this specific recorder, or not a recorder, this specific device that he has, which is original old call for coyote calls and things like that. That's what it's for.
Is it one of the old Lomans?
Could be. But we don't know if it's the pitch of it, or if they just don't like the sound of that rabbit in distress. But they would quickly come in and start hitting him with rocks. And the more it played, the worse it got. And like I was telling you before, I could take it from him and play it, and he would still get hit with rocks. So it's like they got his number. He made him mad because he's played that thing, and anytime it's being played, they know that it's his, and they're going to hit him. Or this is the other side of it that we wonder, because there's two different parts. He is a big guy. Are they looking at the biggest male there, and they're going to pick on that biggest male? I don't know. I kind of think it's because they plays that call and they don't like that call. So they've got his number and they're going to hit him.
Well, that kind of begs the question of, has he been out and not used the call and they've pelted him with rocks?
Yeah, he's been out before, not used the call, and got hit with rocks.
That sounds like they've pegged him.
Yeah, so they've pegged him. For some reason...
It sucks for him.
For some reason, they don't like him, and they will, especially in one area.
Right.
One area that we can go into, he will get hit with rocks. I've seen him hit with rocks. I've seen him hit with sticks. I've seen him get a flashlight knocked out of his hand with a stick. He had his hand stuck out his truck window, shining a light because something was walking beside us.
Right.
And he was just seeing if he could see it. So he flipped on his light, going, I'm going to see if I can see this thing. Flips on his light, right down the side of his truck, and hits his hand, knocks his hand into his mirror, messes his mirror up, knocked his flashlight down, and he's like, you gotta get out of the truck to get my light. Holy! And the whole time I'm going, hurry up, we gotta go. we need to
leave this situation.
We need to leave this area. We need to leave this area. I really don't want my truck beat with rocks.
So tell me what you would like people that see Bigfoot in Indiana, what would you like them to do? Would you like them to contact you, or would you like them to contact, just the organization, or you just...
No, they can contact me directly.
Okay.
If you go on the internet, and you can either look up Indiana Bigfoot Research Organization.
Right.
We do have a website and a Facebook page. My number is on both of them.
Okay.
And call or leave me a message. Call and leave me a message. I say leave a message because most of the time, if I don't know the number, I don't always answer it.
Right.
Because you get so many.
Oh yeah, telemarketers.
You get so many telemarketers. The truth in it is, I don't always answer. If they leave a message, I'm definitely going to listen to the message.
Right.
Or if they text me, then that's a whole other.
That's
deal.
a whole different story. Yeah.
But yeah, we've got a website out there, and then also on Facebook, and like I said, my number's on both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want people to get a hold of me. Call me, tell me, call somebody. Even if you don't call us, call somebody.
Right.
Because there is groups out there. I'm one of the many groups in Indiana. There is a number of groups out there, and they're good. I'm not going to put down any group that's in Indiana that's out researching. I ain't going to put down on one of them. There's a number of good researchers out there. Try to get a hold of someone. At least get a hold of someone, get it recorded, and let's try to, so someone can help them, because that's what it comes down to. You need to be able to help the people. And if we can get a report out of it, if we can get it documented, and if someone has a sighting, if we can go back and find a print, then that just takes it more from the story. Because stories don't leave evidence. Story's a story, but when it leaves evidence, it goes to a different realm for me.
Yeah, it goes to
it goes
proven realm.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I want. So if anybody hears anything, they got something, by all means, call us. That's great. But if not, get a hold of somebody. Get a hold of someone, reach out and get some help. Let us know. Let someone know, so that it can either get help, and plus that it does get documented. So that we can document what's really going on. Because we know that there's so many things that goes on that never gets documented, that never gets told. So when someone says, well, there's this many reports, that's a handful. That's a handful. That's nothing. I know that there's a lot more than that. Unfortunately, I know a lot more that I don't always report everything. I don't document. There's a lot of it that's in my head.
Right.
But I don't document a lot of it. I let it kind of keep going. And a lot of times it's just protecting the people. I kind of leave it and don't even talk about the area. Especially when I have families that's involved. I don't even talk within us of the Pacific area they're in, because there's downsides to that, too, because you get people that go in, and if too many people know about it in a Pacific area, then they're going to go flood that area.
Right.
Then you're going to have everybody and their brother going in, and it kind of ruins it if you are trying to research, because the thing you don't want is more people in that area.
You don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry and his brother and cousin go in there and
You don't want
run them out.
You don't want everybody in there, and plus, when you're in there, you don't want everybody in there, because if you make a call, you want to kind of be the only one around there. So when something answers, you're not going, "Well, was that somebody else that just yelled back at me?"
Yeah.
You know, was that someone else?
So
you want to try to eliminate that.
Right. So let me ask you this: if there is viewers of this channel out there that want to report and investigate, you know, and get you to come and investigate, and they don't want everybody to know who it is, can they go that route with you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If someone reports something to me, I don't put out their name. I don't put out even where they're at. I keep it I totally quiet.
Okay.
That's why I have some things I'll tell you that there's this or that, but I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to give you an area that's in.
Right.
You know, because you got to protect people's privacy.
Right.
You know, we have researchers with us that are business people, and they don't want their business to take a chance. They don't want someone thinking they're crazy and lose any of their business because they're looking for Bigfoot. So, you know, kind of you stay quiet on that end. You're like, you got to totally respect their privacy. So you kind of leave that out of it, you know. Just like you said, you don't, you know, some people you don't want to put their name out there. You know, myself, I put my name out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have put my name out there, and I'll put my name out there. I don't care what kind of reputation I get, as long as it's not a bad rep. But I want my reputation as being honest, and when I tell you something,
you can take it to the bank.
You can take it to the bank. I'm not gonna give you a line, because I'm not into feeding people a line. And so yeah, I put my name out there. Everybody I work with, everybody knows that I Bigfoot. Every one of them, and I tell them, go ahead and laugh. I don't care if you don't believe me. Go ahead and laugh. Go home tonight and tell your family, tell your friends, laugh about me. Because not all your friends will think it's funny. Or family will think it's funny. And they'll have stories, and they may contact me. And the same, I've had some of them that has laughed at me and has come back and went, guess what?
That's called eating crow.
Yeah, I had a gentleman that laughed at me for 2 years that I worked with, very close with. And he was like, no, no, no. He moved and said one of the first things he told me after he moved, he says, I was in my garage and it started getting hit with rocks. Do you think that I could have something around me? Yeah, in the area you're in, yeah, sure. Well, I don't know about that. Well, probably 6 months later, I get a call. Right after dark, I get a call. Dude, me and my wife just seen one. It was running down the side of the road beside us. I just seen one. We was going home, and it was running down the edge of the road beside us, running towards my house. You know, and I'm like, dude, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you. They're very possible they're in your area. I don't know if they are or not, but the area that you live in, I would not doubt one bit that there's some around here. So yeah, he's a believer now. You know, beforehand, he laughed at me.
Right.
I've had other co-workers say the same thing. You know, laughed at me. But now they come back and go, hey. I've had him come to me and say, don't let any of the other guys know this, but let me tell you what happened to me this morning. You know, I had one older, I'll give you a story.
Okay.
I had an older gentleman that I worked with.
Okay.
Was working around. He would go, I worked construction.
Okay.
Okay, road construction. We was redoing a bridge, box culvert. So we're in this one area.
Mm-hmm.
It is in between the area that I took you to last night. We drove over it.
Okay.
It's in a hot area.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're working there. He kind of laughed. I mean, this gentleman, 80 years old and still running a track hoe. He is still a heavy equipment operator.
Okay.
He says his great grandkids need ice cream. I mean, that's what he would tell me. That's why he's still working. But he would go into work early every morning and would park underneath this tree, and he would sleep before everybody else got there. He would pull in good 45 minutes to an hour early, and he would sleep under that tree.
Right.
In his truck. Well, he told me, he goes, I come in that one day, and he goes, let me tell you what happened. He said, I was asleep in my truck this morning. He goes, I got woke up to my truck rocking. He goes, I thought at first as I was waking up that it must be time to go to work and they're trying to wake me up. Until my truck was rocking violently from side to side. I'm getting mad. Then my truck lunges forward and I get pushed across the edge of that field to the wood line over there. He goes, I'm jumping out of my truck going, what the? And he goes, there ain't nobody here. Nobody around. Is one of your friends around here or what? And I'm looking at him and I'm going, what you talking about? He goes, go down there and look where my truck's at. You'll see the marks going across the field and where I had to back out.
Right.
He says, I was not asleep when I backed that truck out of there. He goes, but I ended up going across that thing. He goes, and my truck was rocking from side to side. I thought that I was going to get turned over. Went down there. I couldn't find any prints on his truck. Skid marks across the grass. See where he backed out of it. But all he would do, is your friends in this area right here? I'm going, yeah. And he goes, well, don't tell none of these other guys. I don't want to hear it. He goes, but I'm telling you, never in my life have I experienced anything like happened to me this morning.
Huh.
And it was right before dark. And there is a creek and a wood line that comes up right to the tree that he parked at. I went down there and went very easily. Something could have come up that wood line there underneath the tree right up to the back of where his truck had sat.
And just picked it up and moved it.
Yeah.
Shoved him on down the road.
Shoved him across. Shoved it probably, I don't know, maybe 20 feet or so across the grassy part of the field.
Full-size pickup?
Full-size pickup. Just hard to believe. But I seen the marks going across, and then I could see where he backed at an angle going back up.
Right.
And parked. I had no reason to disbelieve him.
Right.
You know.
But he was one of the skeptics that would just kind of look at you.
Oh, he was one of the skeptics that would look at me and laugh.
Yeah.
You know, he was one of the skeptics that would look at me and laugh.
Well, this is probably about the best time to cut the video right now, cut our interview. And I appreciate you coming over and talking with me and telling me about your organization. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and my wife's heart for inviting us over to come over to your outing. We have had nothing but fun today, and we had fun last night.
We're going to go have fun tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you to an area tonight that is very active.
Well, I don't want to put my red shirt on, do I?
Oh, yeah, put anything on.
Oh, boy.
We want some activity.
He's wanting to get rocks thrown at me again.
No, this area, they're not going to throw rocks at us.
They might not throw rocks at you. They throw rocks at me every time they see me in that red shirt.
We won't get rocks thrown at us.
Okay. All right. If you promise.
Yeah, we won't get rocks thrown at us.
You're going to protect me, right?
Yeah, we may get yelled at. But
that wouldn't be nothing.
No,
I wouldn't care.
That'll be it.
All right. So
we might get to hear something.
if you never ever see anything but this video in the future, you know what happened. Give him a call. Let him hear about it.
And if it's dragging me off tonight, make sure you record, because you got to remember.
Well, no, I'm going to be the only idiot probably running over to chop its arm off or do something like that.
You got to get some film, because you got to remember you're prime suspect.
That's my other.
If I don't come out of the woods,
part's job.
If I don't come out of the woods, it's prime suspect. You are.
Oh well.
Because I want you to convince the cops that a Bigfoot drugged me off.
Well, I'll come over and show them the body parts that I did get chopped off.
Okay. All right. Deal.
So, guys, we're going to conclude this video for today, and we hope you enjoy it as always. And if you live in Indiana and have seen or heard something that you suspect might be a Bigfoot, give this organization a call. They've got their heads on right, and they know what they're doing. And I thank each and every one of you for listening. And that's all for today. Bye-bye.